Warning: the following video is a part of an ongoing episode-by-episode critique of the DCAU. As a result, there'll be massive spoilers for not just the season/movie in question, but for any other season or movie in the DCAU. More importantly, this review will build off of previously established ideas from other videos, assuming that you've already seen and are familiar with them already as to not bog down the pace. With all that in mind, enjoy the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DC Animated Universe Retrospective. Tonight we're closing coverage on Batman Beyond with the film, released while Season 3 was running on television, that being Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. Need I say more? I mean, this show had always taken a lot of pride in its ability to create new foes and situations for Batman to find himself in. And so when we saw Mr. Freeze, it was to show how an old favorite was holding up in the future, and to help introduce Blight. When we saw Bane, this was used to the effect of seeing how bad Venom really was by having Bane be a pathetic shell of a man in old age. And then Ra's al Ghul's return led to the show's best episode, Out of the Past. But now we have the granddad of all Beyond comebacks as Batman's single greatest adversary, the Joker, has returned to terrorize Neo Gotham City and the new Batman protecting it. There is so much intrigue going into this film. The show itself has set up a mystery of what happened to the Joker, as Bruce has hardly any memorials of the man in the Batcave of the future. We saw a torn up Joker Most Wanted poster at the old police station from BTAS and a mysterious corpse in a cavern from Season 2. Was that the Joker? Who knows? What was going through Bruce's mind when he saw that poster? I don't know, but it certainly was something. As I've set up, there's no way the clown prince of crime goes out without leaving a scar behind first. How will Bruce react to Joker's return? What about Barbara? Will Robin and Nightwing finally get a Beyond appearance? How has he come back after such a long absence? Will Terry be able to stop him once and for all? I mean, a lot of other capable heroes have tried and failed in the past. Is Terry ready for a villain like the Joker? See, so many questions a fan of this show will be thinking about going into this movie. It's been a long time since I last reviewed a movie. I loved Phantasm as it's one of the DCAU's best outings, but I thought that Sub-Zero and Batwoman both fell below the quality standard I like to see out of the DCAU, which led to those two still being the bottom two members of the DCAU tier list. But don't worry folks, Return of the Joker is up there with Phantasm for how beloved it is, and I myself have seen it several times over the years and it's always been a great ride. For that reason, I was really excited to get back to it for the first time in years and give it the review as we come ever so closer to the finish line of the DCAU retrospective. Let's waste no more time and begin Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. The first thing I want to mention is the music. Going all the way back to Season 1, one of my favorite aspects of Batman Beyond as a series is the unique sound design it brought to the table, through a distinct futuristic soundtrack and clever sound design in the episodes where Shriek was the main villain. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker feels right at home in the audio department, a higher budget version of what was seen on the television screen. But above all else, I want to discuss the vocal theme, Crash. It just screams Batman Beyond, as the vocals for Mask of the Phantasm and Mystery of the Batwoman had this laid-back, seductive air to it. This is anything but. I really dig it. This is just my kind of music. Not that I don't enjoy tracks like the Phantasm vocal, but songs like this are the ones that capture my attention the most. With that covered, it's now time to begin the movie. We start out with the Joker's gang that was seen numerous times on the show, only with a new roster. Ghoul, Bonk, the DD twins, Woof, a spliced creature, of which the Jokers have had a couple laying around, and Chucko. This is the Joker's roster that appeared in the alternate timeline future from JLU Season 1, The Once and Future Thing Part 2, but that timeline got erased by the end of the episode. The Jokers in the show were more about petty crimes and pedestrian harassment than stealing big tech, so whoever they're working for this time has some big plans. Looking back on it, every DCU movie starts with an action set piece to really get you into the mood of the movie. If you hadn't seen the show, this would help you get on the hook from second one, and as a fan of the shows, you can just enjoy seeing how much more they can accomplish with the film setup than they could on TV. As the Return of the Joker is no different with these cool action shots. I think the Blu-ray of this film could have looked a lot cleaner though. It looks to me like a simple up-res process when Phantasm and Sub-Zero were full-on remasters. Batwoman was also probably just an up-res, but I think that film fared better. One cool thing though is that we don't have any TV censors to worry about. An immediate example of this is in all the action scenes. Not only is this movie not afraid of blood or other intense moments, the action scenes aren't censored. You've probably been so used to this after 5 Justice League seasons and 3 seasons of Beyond, but almost every time a fist made contact with someone's face, a white flash would appear over the screen. Honestly, I don't know what this is supposed to be censoring, as if you just edit out the white flash, the scene doesn't look any different.
But yeah, not having that flash here was a surprise to me at first. Just not used to it, I guess. But I'm glad it's gone. On the subject of censorship, it probably goes without saying, but we're reviewing the uncensored cut of Return of the Joker. As far as I'm aware, this is the canon version, as the censored cut that airs on TV removes blood, adds white flashes to action scenes, changes dialogue that might be viewed as too edgy or extreme, and alters a vital scene in the middle of the movie that we can discuss later. Every version you buy of this movie nowadays is the uncut version, which is good because it's the much better one. The Jokers are prevented from stealing the machine, but they do get away with the motherboard, ending the prologue, beginning the opening credits with this sick guitar piece. As the movie begins proper in the Batcave.
Still got it.
Big developments in the business world. With Paxton Powers going to jail as of King's ransom, Bruce Wayne has decided to step into the sunlight and take ownership of Wayne Powers once more. Wait, did I say Wayne Powers? I mean, Wayne Enterprises. Thank the stars, the Powers lineage is dust, and their name can finally be removed from this once great company. I guess you could consider Wayne Powers to be symbolic of the dark ages of the DCAU timeline, a period we don't really see, but it isn't very good. It's a 23-year period where Bruce Wayne literally cannot be Batman anymore, loses the company to Derek Powers, who turns it into a corporate monopoly, steamrolling the rest of the city in a way that would make Volume 1 Lex Luthor impressed. Gotham is left without Batman, Metropolis is protected by a Superman that's been taken over by a hostile alien, and things start to change as Terry becomes Batman, only finally seeing to the Dark Ages end as Paxton Powers goes to jail. The next in line to control the company after Paxton would have been Jordan Price, voiced by Mark Hamill, who was clearly bitter about Bruce's return.
I, of course, join the rest of our Wayne Enterprises family in welcoming back our most valuable senior resource, Bruce Wayne. I'm sure we'll all profit from his years of experience. Still, the day-to-day rigors of running a vast multinational conglomerate would be stressful, even for a young man. I hope Mr. Wayne is up to the challenge.
He's not bitter.
My return torpedoed any dreams he had of succession.
You gonna keep him around?
If he'll stay on my terms. I've worked long and hard to regain control of my family's company, and I won't hand it over again. Price can either get with that program or start emailing his resume.
I love that attitude. Bruce is not fooling around. He wants his company to be good again. He won't let anyone get in his way. Which is great, as Terry's brought that determination out of Bruce, which was dormant in the 20 years between his quitting the vigilante life and meeting Terry. Practically, it makes sense, too. Bruce and his company can do a lot of good for the city, with or without him being Batman, which is an angle The Dark Knight Rises tried to explore a bit in the Clean Energy Project storyline from the start of the film.
Does this mean you'll have less time for...
Who sleeps anymore? You okay?
You know the Jokers are going in for splicing now? Crazy hyena boy nearly took a bite out of me. No way I could have explained that to Dana.
You're not going out now.
The night is young and so am I.
I think a good night's rest might be more beneficial.
Like you said, who sleeps anymore?
On a more comedic note, I can't believe Dana still puts up with this goober after like 3 years of dating. Look at this.
There, my head's on fire.
You look good.
McGinnis?
At the abandoned Jolly Jack candy factory, the Jokers come to meet their boss, the Joker, and his introductory scene is fantastic, as he really feels far more menacing than he ever has in the DCAU before.
He's got us running around ripping a lot of geek junk, but no cash. He won't tell us what his plan is, if he even has one. I want out.
If you insist.
Oops. No, I wasn't. The increase in intensity is there, but he still feels like the same guy, which is where the questions begin in your mind. Whatever happened to the Joker that would make him be gone for so long? Like I said, a lot of intrigue is built into this movie, for a relatively short runtime too. Unlike Sub-Zero though, every second is used to maximum effect, and unlike Batwoman, there's a lot of great character work done in this movie, when that one suffered from it all being about the mystery, and nothing else is there to latch onto after the first viewing. I credit that to this movie having a Paul Dini script, so you know they're bringing the A game. The story really gets going at the Wayne Enterprises dinner event, where we first see old Bruce's new public persona. Remember, in his day, Bruce had plenty of masks he cycled through. He can't act like cynical old man Wayne at an event like this, so he instead acts like an older version of businessman Bruce.
Ms. Carr, you remember my assistant, Terry McGinnis?
Of course. I'm glad you could join us, Terry.
But this is the building the Jokers have decided to hit, as the adamantium cane strikes again.
Joker's back in town.
Can't be.
Oh no, your old eyes do not deceive you, Brucey. After all, who know me better than you?
I probably don't have to say it, but Mark Hamill as the Joker absolutely kills it in this movie. I would dare say that this is one of his best Joker performances of all time. That's a tall order, but I really do think this should be in the conversation. We'll see plenty of examples throughout the video, but he can be scary, but you can also laugh at his antics even if you feel like you shouldn't be, which are things you can say about the Dark Knight for Pete's sake.
Back off, gruesome.
The new boy. Ears are too long and I missed the cape, but not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
As small as it may be, that line of dialogue confirms the fact that the Justice League costume never existed. Props to the artists on JL though, as Batman's costume had the blue of the BTAS suit, the look of the TNBA suit, and the long ears and the heels were a nod to the Beyond costume. But if Joker thinks the Beyond suit's ears are too long, clearly there was no fourth bat suit that had that.
This was the scene just 3 hours ago as a man claiming to be the legendary Joker disrupted a ceremony at the newly opened Wayne Enterprises building.
Honey, what are you watching?
Adding to the drama was the appearance of another Gotham icon, the Batman, who engaged his one-time foe in a stunning aerial battle.
Honey?
It's nothing, sweetheart. Nothing.
We will see who that guy is later. For now, Terry visits Barbara, who does not take kindly to Terry's sarcasm.
Now this Joker.
Drop it, kid.
That's what the old man's been saying.
Listen to him.
Hey, look. I know this fruitcake was one of the big bad guys from the Cape and Cowl days.
He was more than that.
What? A garden variety wacko who threatened people with whoopee cushions and squirting flowers? Big deal. I'm shaking.
McGinnis! The Joker, the real Joker, was unlike anyone you've ever faced, and for your sake, I hope you never do.
This leads to an interesting thought, though. Bruce has memorials of all his foes, including Harley Quinn, but outside of a massive playing card, he has nothing to represent the Joker. And Terry has barely heard of him. Terry knows about Freeze, about Ra's al Ghul, Two-Face, Croc, Riddler, the whole cast, but not the Joker. Once more begging the question, what happened to him?
A countdown of victims that will end at midnight, unless our dear Dark Knight stops me first. Hello, Gotham. Joker's back in town.
Must say, I think it's cool that they redid that shot from Holiday Nights.
A countdown of victims that will end at midnight, unless our dear Dark Knight stops me first.
Holiday Nights was an animated retelling of the Christmas special of the BTAS comic series, so Joker has done the whole "a countdown of victims" speech in all 3 of his designs. Which reminds me, Joker's actual design in this movie looks pretty good. I think it looks very Beyond-esque, as the design mentality behind the show is to make things as sleek as possible, which Joker pulls off well.
It's funny. I know about all your other major enemies, but you never mention him. He was the biggest, wasn't he?
It wasn't a popularity contest. He was a psychopath. A monster.
Now, there was an interesting line. I've always thought about this. The way Bruce feels about the Joker in the DCAU changes in subtle ways depending on what the story is going for. Take these examples from Joker's Favor, Joker's Millions, and Injustice for All.
Gotcha. Oh, very funny. A million laughs.
Go home, Mr. Collins. You'd better call your fancy lawyers. Here. It's on me.
No fair. How'd you get free?
I could have escaped any time, but I thought I'd stick around to keep an eye on you clowns.
You're despicable.
I don't think you'd see Bruce's Batman interact with the Joker in that way in the context of this darker story. That's not a flaw, mind you. I'm just observing that in another episode, Batman will say something like this.
Scoundrels like these are worse than the Joker. At least he's got madness as an excuse.
But in episodes like Mad Love, Wild Cards, or this movie, Bruce just thinks he's the lowest of lows for humanity. It sounds inconsistent, however, this just speaks to the versatility of Joker's character. I've always praised how the DCAU can just give us a serious Joker episode like Mad Love and then give us Beware the Creeper 2 episodes later like it's nothing and we have no problem accepting it. Just know that this is definitely on the list of serious Joker stories in the DCAU. Probably one of the textbook examples.
I want you to give back the Batman suit.
What? Why?
There is no reason for you to continue. You've made your father's killers pay for his murder, then put your own needs aside to help the city when it most needed a hero. You've honored the reputation of Batman many times over, and for that I thank you.
Then why?
I had no right to force this life on you or anyone else.
I was the one who broke in and swiped the suit, remember? I was a pretty bad kid once. Ran with a rough crowd, broke a lot of laws to say nothing to my folks' hearts. The kind of punk you wouldn't have wasted a second punch on back in the day.
Your point?
State says my 3 months in juvie wiped me clean, but my soul tells me different. Every time I put on that suit, it's my chance to help people who are in trouble. I guess on a personal level, it's a chance to look like a worthwhile human being again. In my eyes, if no one else's. It's what I want, Bruce.
Stupid kid. You don't know what you want. None of you ever did.
That suit is basically Terry's resignation, as what Bruce said came clean out of nowhere. It'll make sense later, but we don't have Bruce's perspective on this quite yet. But no, Terry is not a Robin. Terry McGinnis is Batman, the second Batman, a different kind of Batman than the old one, and shouldn't be compared to a Robin in the same breath. Something that the climax of this film and the topic of the next video will solidify. Terry's out partying with Dana, Chelsea, and Blade when the Jokers attack not Batman, but Terry, leaving Dana injured to the point of being hospitalized. And meanwhile at Wayne Manor, the Joker busts in.
Hello, Batman.
Holy shit! That right there has got to be one of the creepiest Joker shots in the DCAU. At least it gets my vote anyway. But Joker knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. That certainly wasn't the case when we last saw them in a Wildcards episode from Justice League, or in Beware the Creeper, which was the last appearance prior to the release of this movie. Meaning the mystery and intrigue is at an all-time high. As was established a moment ago, this Joker clearly knows who Terry is and sent the gang after him, as Terry rushes to the manor to make sure Bruce is okay and sees it's a wreck. And I don't know if Joker intended this, but watch. Ha ha ha, scribbled all over the wall in paint. A house torn apart. This was the scene Terry returned to when his father was killed.
Dad?
If Bruce is dead here, then both times would have been an event Terry missed because he ran out on both of them. But Bruce is only Joker gassed and was working on the antidote which Terry saves his life with, as Barbara comes over to help, bringing us to that scene.
The Joker knew about Bruce, about me, probably about you too.
Someone knows, I'll give you that. But it's not the Joker. Not the real one.
Bruce said he was dead.
And?
That's it. I know there's more. Barbara, I'm a part of this. I need the answers Bruce can't give me. I deserve them.
I thought talking about it would get easier over time, but some hurts never go away.
If you know anything about this movie, you knew this was coming and that it's the most famous part of the whole thing. Barbara's gonna tell Terry the tale of how the Joker died.
Dick Grayson, Nightwing, had left to establish himself in another city.
But first, I'll say I got a chuckle out of that fade when the sky changes colors from purple to red as we go from Beyond to TNBA.
There were 3 of us then. Bruce, myself, and Robin. Tim Drake. Robin was out alone that night when he came upon a woman in trouble.
But yeah, we're back in the world of the new Batman adventures, and we'll be staying here for the next 10 minutes or so. Timeline-wise, Dwayne McDuffie has informed us that the flashback you're about to see is the final present-day storyline, meaning that all things BTAS, STAS, Static, Justice League, and JLU would have to have taken place by the time of this flashback. That's how much of a landmark moment this is. It's like how Old Wounds was a cutoff for all things BTAS, but times 10. The year is roughly 2005 to 2007, meaning it's been 6 to 8 years since TNBA, a year to 3 years since Destroyer from Justice League Unlimited, and a couple of months to 2 years after the Mystery of the Batwoman film. Now, Robin here appears exactly as he did in Batman Volume 4, but we must remember that this film was released in 2000. At this time, there was no Justice League series. It wouldn't come out for another 11 months at this point. That is why Batman appears in his TNBA attire here. Well, also because that's the default whenever he isn't with the Justice League, but also because JL didn't even exist. They didn't know they would be stretching the timeline out with several years of Justice League stories, but they did go to the effort of aging Robin up a bit in the Batwoman movie, which obviously takes place before this flashback. We just have to accept the fact that Robin in this flashback is a couple of years older than he actually looks, as he's captured by Harley Quinn and the Joker.
That evens things up a little.
Not really, bird boy.
A bird in the hand.
For 3 agonizing weeks, there was nothing.
God, that kept going for 3 weeks! You guys must remember just how seriously Bruce took it when Dick Grayson as Robin was captured in Batman Season 3, right? He knew he was playing an Erasures trap, but he traveled all over the globe for Robin's sake. But here, there is no logical trend to follow like when Ra's captured the first Robin. Batman and Batgirl, without the help of Nightwing as he was gone by this point, have no clues as to what happened. They just know Robin is missing. This must have been one of the worst time periods in the old Batman's career, because just writing about it now, it's a scary thought from the perspective of Batman to imagine what's happening to your adopted son when you weren't there, whom you allowed into this world when he was only 13. But the silence is broken as Batman and Batgirl are told that Robin is at Arkham Asylum, the old Arkham Asylum from BTAS, as they finally moved the place to a higher security building. Only took 15 years of the whole revolving door routine to get old in the eyes of the Arkham staff, I guess. The old Arkham we saw so many times is in decay, an atmospheric setting for the final battle between Batman and Joker, as these halls were actually where we first saw the Joker in the DCAU. Yeah, the second episode, Christmas with the Joker.
Jingle bells, Batman smelt, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away.
That exact room is where the big climax between these two will take place.
No peeking.
Before we dive into the action though, it's worth restating what I said in Justice League Season 1. This flashback was actually the debut of a post-TNBA Joker design, as also seen in Static Shock and Justice League, where the purples and greens were all died down a bit, but still the design was the same. They did it to make the flashback's Joker appearance be, frankly, scarier. As while I don't mind TNBA's Joker like the internet does, it's a bit soft, undetailed, and cartoony looking for what this flashback was trying to do.
Then we remembered you always had a few spare kids hanging around, so we borrowed one.
No.
My God.
He needed a little molding, of course. What kid doesn't? But in time, we came to love him as our own. Say hello, JJ.
Oh my lord. Batman clearly shares my sentiment and tries to kill the Joker. As I will restate numerous times throughout this flashback, of course Joker's laughing like there's no tomorrow. Because, think about it, he's already won! Before Batman and Batgirl even got here, they already lost. Robin has been transformed into Joker Jr. under the orders of Joker and Harley, so the Bat characters can beat them up all they want to. That's not gonna change anything!
Robin! Robin! Damn, it's Barbara. Can you hear me?
As the characters split off, Batman chases the Joker and Batgirl grills Harley here, and it's rightfully so.
How could you help Joker do it, Harley? Okay, so he roughed the kid up a little, but I'll make it right. Yeah, you're mother of the stinking year.
Seriously, Quinn, you have to have lost your mind if this is in any way okay. You can speculate as to what Harley's real mission here was, but that means going into the tie-in material of Batman and Harley Quinn and trying to tie that back into Justice League Unlimited Season 2, and I don't feel like doing that today, so I won't be doing that. You'd think Harley would have learned the lesson Batman tried teaching her over 10 years ago at this point.
You think it's funny when he hurts people?
It's just a joke.
Hope you're still laughing when it's your turn.
But no, a part of her derangement is not seeing the problem with being pushed out of a window or beaten or taking Robin hostage and doing this to him. But she does get what's coming to her. Damn. With that done, we get back to Batman and Joker, and summary couldn't do this scene justice.
What's the matter, Batman? No witty comeback, no threat? Then I'll provide the narration. I'll begin with how I peeled back the layers of the boy's mind.
This monologue from the Joker might be my favorite Mark Hamill Joker speech of all time, including all incarnations he's played the character.
Though he bravely tried to fight it at first. But all too soon, the serums and the shocks took their toll, and the dear lad began to share such secrets with me.
He just sounds so sinister and is showing us these horrific visuals, punctuated by this at the end.
Secrets that are mine alone to know, Bruce. It's true, Batsy. I know everything. And kinda like the kid who peeks at his Christmas presents, I must admit, it's sadly anticlimactic. Behind all the sturm and batarangs, you're just a little boy in a play suit crying for mommy and daddy. It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
There is no doubt in my mind, Joker intends for this to be the final battle. That is why he captured Robin and did this. That is why he's happy to know who Batman is. Joker never cared who Batman was before this. But no, he wants this to be the end, and for Batman to be as defeated as possible. Have his adopted son be turned into the spitting image of his worst enemy, and have the Joker laugh at the graves of Bruce's parents, making a mockery out of Bruce's entire crusade, having spent decades of dedication to reach this point. And again, he's gonna try and beat up the Joker here, but it won't change anything. The Joker's just gonna keep laughing and joking because he already won.
If you don't like the movie, I've got slides.
And that's why he says as much here.
I'll break you in two.
Oh, Batman. If you had the guts for that kind of fun, you would have done it years ago. I, on the other hand... You've lost, Batman. Robin is mine.
You've lost, Batman. Like, that line does not just mean, Batman, you lost the day. That line means you've lost the war that we've been on for over a decade. And now, it's time to deliver the punchline.
Here you go, sonny boy. Make Daddy proud. Deliver the punchline.
Now that we're here, it's this whole flashback that was changed the most in the edited cut of the film. Obviously, this whole flashback scene has been dark and dramatic and lots of surprising moments and death. The usual edits were made.
I'll begin with how I peeled back the layers of the boy's mind. I'll begin with how I affected young Robin's makeover. I, on the other hand... on the other hand...
But the Joker's death was full-on remade from scratch. The edited version isn't the worst thing ever, per se. It's actually kind of ironic that the Joker dies because he slipped and fell, one of the oldest comedic tricks in the book. However, it completely takes you out of the scene. It feels so out of place, which is basically why the unedited version is the canon one. Let's see it. Let's see Batman staring his own son, Tim Drake, in the face, holding a gun, about to shoot him, the one weapon Batman would never use.
Do it! That's not funny. That's not...
Wow, what a finish. That's not funny. That's not the punchline Joker imagined. It was supposed to be this well set up downfall Joker planned, but instead the joke is Joker went to all this effort and caused so much pain and misery only to get himself killed in the process. In such a lame way, too. Think about it, the Joker has survived some of the most ridiculous set pieces you can possibly imagine, like surviving getting eaten by sharks in The Laughing Fish, narrowly escaping the Phantasm at the end of that film, being blown to pieces in The Lex-Wing in World's Finest, falling into one of those smoke tower things in Mad Love, coming back from Ace turning him into a vegetable, and so many more. But this one shot, it's all it took. He was shot through the heart with his own fake prop gun. The Joker, a man who so desperately wanted attention and to build a legacy, is killed by a single shot in an abandoned mental hospital where no one was watching. No one was listening to this grand final battle. The Joker, he goes out on a whimper, never to be seen or heard from again, leaving behind no legacy, truly forgotten, buried in the ruins of Arkham Asylum. Fitting, as it was his kind of criminal that tainted the place so much when it was in use. The memory left behind of the Joker is the scar he left on Batman and these two innocent victims, Batgirl and Robin.
It's okay, Tim. It's okay.
Can you imagine Terry's reaction to this horrific story? Like, this is the man he refused to take seriously earlier in the story, and now he learns this fucking nightmare. The Joker really was more than a garden variety wacko. He was an evil, manipulative genius that was rotten to the core. But he's back, and he has to be stopped. Terry's only lead is to talk to Tim Drake, the older man from earlier. Robin, decades later. This ought to be interesting.
Look, it's been almost 40 years. It wasn't easy, but I managed to put it to bed and go on with my life. You'll have to do it yourself one day. We all did. We gave our best, but in the end, that wasn't good enough for the old man.
Yeah, that's basically how it ends. It's sad, honestly. Bruce said in Chemistry that he figured he would pass the Bat legacy on to Dick, Tim, and Barbara, but they all left him behind and got real lives. But he said something I want to point out to Terry. I put it to rest. You'll have to do it yourself one day. This is working on the idea that Terry as Batman is the same thing as the Robins and Batgirl. Barbara implied as much in A Touch of Curare.
It's what I wanted.
That's what we all thought at the beginning.
You don't know him like I do. He manipulates, pulls strings, anything to get what he wants.
We gave our best, but in the end, that wasn't good enough for the old man.
Will Terry follow the same path as all of them? We'll have to see.
Were all of you that bitter when you left?
Comes with the territory, McGinnis. Look up Nightwing someday, has he got stories?
Drake's clean anyway. I've got one more lead to check out. Someone with a definite grudge to hold against Bruce Wayne.
Barbara jokingly said Nightwing would have a lot of shit to say about Batman, which he would. But this brings us back to the main talking point of the TNBA review for the third and final time. Everybody thinks of Bruce Wayne as this heartless bastard, but we know it's not true. Listen to what Barb had to say when Terry asked this question after the flashback.
Did they ever patch things up?
Tim tried once or twice, but you know Bruce.
Think about it. We saw that conversation just between Bruce and Terry earlier in this movie. Bruce was acting weird, dickish, and unforthcoming. But he didn't do it because he's a dick. He did it because he's so scared of Terry, this kid he cares for, facing off against the Joker. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt because of his crusade, and that includes Terry. Bruce has this inability to connect with people on a deeper level because he has these barriers where he can't just be honest. And this is what leads to the downfall of his relationships. Not because he doesn't care. He is too afraid to show how much he does care. Because that's vulnerability, something he hasn't openly been since his parents were murdered. Seriously, remember what I said. This is great character writing. The Jordan Price character was meant to be a total red herring as he was aiding the Jokers, but is not the Joker himself. He's just another sleazy guy from the Wayne Powers era. Get him out of here.
I gave you the security code so you could ransack the lab while those bunglers tried to kill Wayne. I want my lawyer.
I think the commissioner'd like to hear this too.
The most important thing to come from that scene was that the Joker now has a giant fucking space laser to blast things at will, which explains the tech he's been stealing. But how does it come all together? It makes no sense.
If I was the Batman I was supposed to be, I'd have cracked this by now. Would have punched exactly the right data into the computer, or remembered that one little clue that everyone else overlooked.
It's rarely that simple.
How are you feeling?
Lousy.
Gordon told me what happened to Tim Drake.
That's why I didn't want you going up against the Joker. Imposter or not.
I was never a Robin. I never... Wait. Joker smashed up the cases. But why was this the only costume he went out of his way to destroy?
Robin did shoot him.
A ghost out for revenge? I don't buy it. I talked to Drake. He's got less love for that costume than the Joker. I think somehow he's behind this.
There it is. Tim Drake has something to do with the Joker, as Mr. J confirms as much, leading to a scene of Terry having to narrowly escape the lasers Joker spamming from the sky in the Batmobile.
Ooh, I'd better sit down before I bust a gun. Catch you later, kiddo.
Now what was that about? Doesn't matter, Terry knows where the Joker is, and so it's time for Terry to rise up and do the thing that Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Gordon, Bullock, Montoya, the rest of the GCPD, Superman, the Justice League, and Cadmus could never do. Hunt down and defeat the Joker once and for all. First done by beating the snot out of the Joker's gang, making his way inside, only to find Tim Drake.
Oh, God. I killed him. I didn't mean to. I tried so hard to forget.
Imagine watching TNBA and thinking that over 40 years later, Tim Drake is the Joker battling Terry McGinnis's Batman. Crazy. He's had to live with shooting the Joker for his entire life almost, and it clicks right into place that moment he says, "Bat fake." Let's watch this intense transformation scene.
And Bruce, I'm sure you've got your monkey boy wired somehow. That's just peachy, because I want you to see every minute of this. It's a killer.
Yeah, Tim Drake isn't actually the Joker. Here's the real story. While Joker captured Robin for the sake of tormenting Batman, he really did know that one day it would be either him or Batman. The real point of capturing Robin was so that Joker could implant his brain onto a microchip located on Robin's neck, which has been established to be a thing in the Beyond series itself, and he implanted it inside Tim Drake, and I'm guessing when Tim became of age to be a match for the Joker, he could finally unleash himself upon the world. But where? Where did he get this technology from? Not the knowledge. The Joker's a genius in every sense of the word. I know where he might have gotten this technology from, as I know where some genetics research was going on back then. We can save it for later. The part I do think is lame though is Joker's plan. Like, he doesn't really have a plan in this movie, it's just blow stuff up with a giant laser. Well, that's not a bad plan, it's also not one that was really all that interesting. It's just the immediate threat that makes you want to see him stopped right now.
My comeback party's gonna set the whole town on fire!
Like I said, the music in this movie is great. But so is the track choice. The same music plays when Batman's chasing Joker in the flashback, but it's very BTAS-like in sound. When the Joker's chasing Terry with the laser, it's a Beyond-styled version of the same track. When Joker handed Tim the gun, this eerie music played that stopped when he fired the gun. In the present moment, you're about to hear the same beginning part of the track, but solidifying Terry's not being a Robin, a different and badass track plays when he makes a different choice. But first, one of my favorite line reads from Mark Hamill when the laser plan doesn't work.
Oh, good. The beam's headed here. Now I'll have to start all over again. Thanks for wrecking everything, kid. See you around.
Hold it.
Oh, wise up, Junior. Game's over.
I'm taking you in.
Right.
Here's that music change I talked about.
Maybe. But you don't know a thing about me.
You? What's to know? You're a punk, a rank amateur, a costumed errand boy taking orders from a senile old man. Still, if it's a whoopin' you're a wantin'. That's right. Better to run and save yourself. That's about your speed.
Let's dance, bozo.
That's great. Terry is locking himself in because he's gonna finish off the Joker for good, even if he has to go with him. That is a Batman move. So I listed all those great heroes and how they could never defeat the Joker, and Terry is clearly not getting anywhere with this as he asks Bruce for help.
Any suggestions, boss?
Joker's vain and likes to talk. He'll try to distract you, but don't listen. Block it out and power on through.
But that's when it clicks for Terry. That is how Bruce would fight the Joker, and he kept coming back. Let's look back at how all those characters would handle this guy.
Whatever it takes.
You diseased maniac, I'll...
It's over, Joker. He's gotta be kidding. They're grenades! Expect the unexpected.
Catch! Even you can't disarm one of my bombs in time.
Shut up!
What kind of a retort is that?
They all took him seriously. I once watched a video analyzing the Joker in The Dark Knight. I forgot which one and who made it, but a good point made was that villains are designed to work with the protagonist in mind. It showed a chart of how Emperor Palpatine would not be a good Batman villain. Or for example, Solid as Snake wouldn't be a good Star Wars villain. The Joker is not a Batman Beyond villain. Blight, Ink, Shriek, Spellbinder, these are Batman Beyond villains. What is Terry as Batman? I've always compared him to Spider-Man. And guess what? The Joker would not make a good Spider-Man villain. Because the Joker is meant to contrast with Bruce Wayne's personality. Terry defeats the Joker by using a strategy nobody ever thought to use before, and it's a stroke of genius writing.
Funny guy.
Can't say the same for you.
Impudent brat. Who do you think you're talking to?
Not a comedian, I'll tell you that.
Shut your mouth!
The real Batman never talked to you much, did he? That's probably why you were so fixated on him.
Don't play psychoanalyst with me, boy.
Oh, I don't need a degree to figure you out. The real reason you kept coming back was you never got a laugh out of the old man.
I'm not hearing this.
Get a clue, Clowny. He's got no sense of humor. He wouldn't know a good joke if it bit him in the cape. Not that you ever had a good joke.
Shut up. Shut up!
You make me laugh. But only because I think you're kind of pathetic.
Stop that!
So you fell in a tank of acid, got your skin bleached, then decided to become a supervillain. What? You couldn't get work as a rodeo clown?
Come on, McGinnis. Laugh it up now, you miserable little punk. Laugh! Ha! Ha!
And with that chip gone, the Joker is gone with it. Batman gets himself, Ace, and Tim out of the building in time as the factory that Joker used as a base goes up in flames, bringing us to the ending scenes.
I struggle to make a good home for you, and this is the thanks I get. Ah! Break a grandmother's heart. I hope they throw the book at you.
Oh, shut up, Nana Harley.
So yeah, Harley somehow lived through that. That's an in-joke amongst the production crew about how they could just never kill off Harley Quinn as they created the character. But as for the real ending, let's see it.
You didn't have to cover up for me, Barbara.
The Joker's gone, Tim. You were just along for the ride.
How you doing, Mr. Drake?
Tim, this is Terry McGinnis.
We met the other night.
We did? Oh. I owe you big time. For what it's worth, Bruce couldn't have chosen anyone better to put on the mask.
Coming from you, that means everything.
Sometimes the important things go unsaid. If there's one thing I've learned, you've got to appreciate the people in your life while you have the chance.
Not everyone is capable of expressing that, Tim, no matter how much they might feel it in their heart.
I know.
Great way for Tim Drake to go out. He started the film as anti-Batman as possible, but now he's encouraging Terry, saying that he's the most worthy of the mask of anyone, which he is. Terry has done just such a great job as Batman. But things get really emotional as Bruce shows up.
What are you doing here?
It's where I should be. Terry, I've been thinking about something you once told me.
Sometimes I ask myself, is Batman just the suit, or is he the man inside? Time to find out.
And you were wrong. It's not Batman that makes you worthwhile. It's the other way around. Never tell yourself anything different.
Thanks.
For the final time, wholesome Bruce Wayne moments get me in the feels every single time. He really is telling Terry there that he has brought value to the name of Batman, and from a guy like Bruce, you know that's genuine. Thanks to Terry, the nightmare of the Joker has ended. The scar he left upon Bruce, Tim, and Barbara has finally been healed. Light has been cast upon the dark shadow he created, and he's gone for good. Everyone can be happy once more, and they couldn't have done it without this punk kid who snuck into the Batcave. But there will always be more super criminals to face as Terry suits up to get back out there, ending Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. What did I think of the movie? If you couldn't tell, I thought it was frickin' fantastic. This kick-ass story really is one of the highlights of the DCAU. There was so much suspense packed into this movie, creepy moments, funny lines, great character interactions, a terrific script, a score that blasts through the roof, excellent vocal performances, great animation, and just such an engaging story for people who like good stories, not just the DCAU. But if you like that, you will no doubt love Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. I loved every second of it, and is easily my favorite thing to come out of Batman Beyond. I know this conclusion is rather short, but I don't have much to add here. It was a wonderful film, and I can't wait to keep watching it for years to come. As for the tier list, I think Mask of the Phantasm edges out over Return of the Joker, as that movie was just really rock solid, bulletproof quality. There are some areas in this movie I didn't think were a perfect 10, like Joker's plan, but I can live with them as the thing. It's much better than Sub-Zero and Batwoman for reasons I already laid out. And with that said, I put it in the S tier, above Justice League Unlimited Season 3 and below Phantasm. And that, folks, is the final tier list update for the retrospective. If you haven't seen this movie yet, do yourself a favor and go do that. It's awesome. I hope I adequately explained why. With that said, this extra ends my coverage of Batman Beyond. A great show that I gave my final reflections on in the last video, so go check that out if you need a refresh. In the meantime, I thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. You know, it's funny. For the longest time, this was going to be the last review in the DCAU retrospective, but times really have changed. I saw a lot of surprising and interesting things over the last 2.5 years. I have spent hundreds of hours reviewing BTAS, Phantasm, Sub-Zero, TNBA, Batwoman, Justice League, STAS, Justice League Unlimited, and now Batman Beyond's finally done. There were a lot of sleepless nights and frustrating moments, and I've come close to quitting a lot of times. So that's why I'm not giving up now. The program's finished. I don't know what James is trying to do, nor do I know why, but I've reached the end. I don't know what I'm walking into with this, but it's time to go back and review Justice League Unlimited Season 2's final episode. Episode 13, Epilogue.